Welcome back. If you've ever let a penny sit forgotten in a jar or ignored it on the sidewalk, you're not alone. But today, we're going to change how you see that small copper disc forever. What looks like pocket change might actually be a living artifact, a piece of American history stamped with the face of Abraham Lincoln and carried through some of the most defining years of the 20th century. We're talking about the wheat penny, a coin minted from 1909 through 1958 that saw two world wars, the Great Depression and the rise of modern America. But today we're zooming in on three specific years: 1940, 1941, and 1942. These 3 years represent a tipping point, a moment when the nation stood at the edge of global conflict, and a simple 1-cent coin became a silent witness to resilience, sacrifice, and transformation. By the end of this article, you'll understand not just the value of these coins, but the stories they carry. And trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. Part 1, The Foundation, a coin that changed everything. Before we dive into the individual years, let's rewind quickly. In 1909, the United States Mint did something unprecedented. For the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, they released the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Instead of symbolic imagery like Lady Liberty, the designer was Victor David Brenner, and his initials VD reappeared prominently on the reverse, sparking a brief controversy before being reduced in size and placed discreetly on Lincoln's shoulder. The obverse front showed a right-facing portrait of Lincoln, dignified and strong. Above him arched the words, "In God We Trust." To his left, Liberty. To his right, the year of minting. The reverse back featured two elegant stalks of Durham wheat, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above them, the motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one. That wheat design gave the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. It remained in use until 1959, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. So from 1909 to 1958, every Lincoln cent told a story of agriculture, national unity, and progress. But the years 1940 to 1942? Those are special, because those coins were minted right as the world was about to catch fire. Part 2, the 1940 wheat penny, a nation emerging from darkness. Let's start with 1940. Imagine the United States in that year. The Great Depression had not fully released its grip, but recovery was finally visible. Families were slowly rebuilding. And yet, across the Atlantic and Pacific, war was already raging. America wasn't officially involved yet, but everyone could feel the storm coming. Eras and varieties. 1942 also saw interesting eras. Look for repunched mint marks, especially on Denver and San Francisco issues, and die Cracksteiny lines caused by aging coin dies. There's even a rare 1942 D over S variety, where a Denver mint mark was stamped over a San Francisco mark. These are true collector treasures. Emotional weight. But again, the story matters more than the price. Part 5, The Collector's Perspective. Why these 3 years endure. So why do 1940, 1941, and 1942 continue to fascinate collectors and history lovers? 1. Accessibility. Unlike rare gold coins or 5-figure rarities, wheat pennies from this era are still findable. You can search through old jars, inherited collections, or even bank rolls and potentially discover a 1940s penny in remarkable condition. 2. Historical density. These 3 years captured a nation in motion, from lingering Depression-era recovery to pre-war anxiety to full wartime mobilization. No other 3-year stretch of the Lincoln cent carries more emotional weight. 3. The copper-to-steel transition. The 1942 penny is the last full copper issue, before the 1943 steel anomaly. That gives it a special place in U.S. numismatic history. 4. Grading and color. Because these coins are relatively common in low grades, the challenge becomes finding them with original red luster and sharp strikes. That hunt through estate sales, auctions, and dealer inventories is part of the joy. 5. Errors and varieties. Even a common date like 1941 can become valuable if it has a repunched mint mark, a doubled die, or an off-center strike. Learning to spot these tiny variations turns every coin into a potential treasure hunt. Part 6. Practical advice for new collectors. If you're new to wheat pennies, here's how to start. First, get a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. 10x magnification is fine. You need to see mint marks, surface condition, and possible errors. Second, learn the basics of grading. The difference between good G, very fine VF, and uncirculated MS is dramatic in value. Fifth, have fun. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars searching through pocket change, buying inexpensive wheat penny lots online, or asking older relatives. You could look through their jars. That's how many lifelong collectors begin. Conclusion, more than a cent. The 1940, 1941, and 1942. Abraham Lincoln wheat. Pennies are not rare treasures in the sense of being impossible to find. Millions were made, or they passed through the hands of the greatest generation. The men and women who lived through the Depression, fought in World War II, and built the post-war world. When you hold a 1942 penny, you are literally holding a piece of 1942. So next time you see a penny, don't walk past it. Turn it over. Look at the date. Look at the wheat stalks. Look at Lincoln's face. You might just find a 1940. 1941 or 1942. And if you do, you're not looking at pocket change. You're looking at a story.